Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. Welcome back to my playthrough of Ace Attorney. So on this part, I think we're the final part of the trial now. We're gonna put Daryan up on the witness stand, or at least I'm assuming he's gonna probably testify. But let's see, where this goes here. July 10, 1:40 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. Apollo, I can't believe it. It really happened during the second act. And right in the middle of Lamoureux's performance. The reason why she was in that air vent. And that switch and the flaming guitar. When you link it all together, that's what you end up with. I knew you had what it took. Ah, Daddy. Mr. Wright. You believed in me. Not really. What? I just thought that'd make a cooler entrance than say hiya. Why do I even bother hoping? Where have you been lately, Daddy? You haven't been coming to the office at all. Ah, sorry about that, Trucy. I'm on a secret mission. Secret? You mean like you're undercover? Like Mr. Le Touse, only shorter and not as well dressed? Oh no, what if you're shot too, Daddy? Would I do a thing like that to you? Anyway, I'm off for a while again. Huh? You're leaving? Oh, one thing before I go. What? Good luck. Right. Is that all you came to say? I think you have things pretty much under control. You'll get Maki Tobe off the hook, no doubt. Yeah, but you're after that detective, aren't you? Daryan Crescent. It won't be easy proving he did it. Especially not under the current court system. The current court system? What did Prosecutor Gavin say during the trial? Your case is based on one fragile assumption. Namely that our Diva Divine is telling the truth. But what about all the proof? The brooch and the switch. A piece of jewelry and a lyrical blunder. There are plenty of other ways to explain these things. The flaming guitar too. All because you lack definitive proof of their connection to the case. But if the sultry songstress is lying, your case melts like butter in a frying pan, leaving behind the faintly singed scent of failure. So what do I do? Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Oh, that reminds me. So when he says conventional methods, remember that in the very first trial, Phoenix also faked evidence to basically get Clavier's brother to get him arrested here. Sorry about my light here, it's a little problem there. But yeah, basically Phoenix faked that thing with the card in order to trick him. And so that's probably what he means when he says conventional. I have something to give you from our detective friend. Detective Sky? Emma? Let's see, this bag of snacks here was meant for me. Ah, here it is. What are those, Daddy? They don't look like very good snacking material. They were found at the scene. Analysis of the fragments revealed traces of gunpowder. Gunpowder? Probably a firecracker or something similar like the one kids are into these days. These fragments were found under a sofa at the scene of the crime, actually. Under the sofa? Hey, Apollo. That's where we found that little device thingy. Right, this. Well, finally, some evidence that makes sense. Burnt fragments found at the crime scene bearing a gunpowder residue, possibly a firecracker? Oh. That's all for me, I suppose. Okay, yeah. I get it now. I know how he did it. So you think this was some kind of firecracker? Yeah, or one of those noisemakers like you shoot off on New Year's. Did you know that in China they use firecrackers on New Year's to scare off evil? So it's kind of the same thing. Really? I had no idea. Well, I did you know this? It takes more than 500 peanuts to make a 112-ounce jar of peanut butter. At least my useless fact had something to do with the evidence. So basically, the switch, this was under the sofa. That's how he did it. Because when you were in the lobby with Emma, in the hallway, and you heard the two gunshots, the gun, Mr. Le Touse had already been shot half an hour beforehand. He was just bleeding to death there. This firecracker was then detonated with that trigger on stage when Daryan was there to give him an alibi so that people would be confused on when the shooting exactly happened. And yeah, so this device ignited the gunpowder. This device ignited the firecracker, and the firecracker basically went off. See you after the verdict. Right. Every man has an igniter inside him. Excuse me? Find Daryan Crescent's igniter and set it off. And he walked out the door, just like a magician normally. What does he want us to do? No conventional methods, what does that mean? I guess we just have to take his advice and hope it makes sense when the time comes. I guess. We're almost at the finish line. Hang in there, Trucy. July 10, 1:55 p.m. District Court, courtroom number 3. Okay, court is now back in session. Prosecutor Gavin, where is Detective Crescent? In the witness lounge, ready to be called at any time. Very well. Might I add, I don't believe any of this. Daryan, was the first detective I ever worked with. We stopped working together when he moved to Criminal Affairs Division 3. But his guitar playing, it fires my imagination. That's nice, but has nothing to do with the matter at hand. Doesn't. Correct. Oh, I know. Air forehead. Very well, call the final witness to the stand. Detective Daryan Crescent. Okay, he's got some stuff to explain right now. Name and occupation, please. Daryan Crescent, Detective, Criminal Affairs, Division 3. That's the International Affairs Division, for those of you who don't know. And I'm a guitarist for the Gaviners. Maybe you've heard of us. You fully understand the circumstances under which you stand before us. Yes, I understand, Your Honor. What I don't understand is how you let this happen, partner. You gave me your word I wouldn't be standing here. The situation's changed, Daryan. And don't call me partner. So much for old friends. I see what you're doing, Daryan. You're pressing the prosecution. Your Honor, if we could begin the trial. Yes, it's high time we did. Let's hear your testimony. You may begin with your response to Lammermoor's testimony. If in fact you have anything to say about it. Oh, I got plenty to say. Lying must be a national pastime in Borginia. And wherever you're from, Mr. Justice, huh? Conventional methods are out the window, huh? Here goes nothing. Witness testimony. Daryan's rebuttal. The diva's lying, plain and simple. She's got nothing to back up her story. In the first place, she never heard my voice. She forgot the words because she heard gunshots as if. Didn't Detective Emma Skye hear those gunshots during the third set anyway? The shooting took place when I was on stage, man. So you claim Lammermoor's testimony was a lie. Hey, don't get me wrong, I dig what she's doing, trying to protect that kid. And she's got the court eating vague statements out of her hand just because she's blind. You go too far, Daryan. Look, all I'm saying is, you've got a reliable witness. Why not listen to the detective? Detective Skye. I see. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. You didn't waste any time finding our weak spot. I can't do this with Lammermoor's testimony alone. I'll have to find some other way to prove when the shooting took place. The diva's lying, plain and simple. She's got nothing to back up her story. You don't have any proof she was lying? Oh yeah, kid. You saying I lied? No, I'm just saying, Apollo, glare back at him. I couldn't help it. I flinched by reflex. Detective Crescent. Yeah? What do you want? Nothing. Apollo, chin up, back up straight. You're wilting. This guy's hard as nails. He makes Walkie look downright cooperative. Look, there's no way the diva remembers my voice. In the first place, she never heard my voice. You never talked to her, even though you were playing in the same concert. Not a word, as far as I can recall. But weren't there, planning sessions or something? Gavin took care of all of that himself. Daryan wasn't involved in any of the meetings with her. As if you can just go around remembering everyone's voice like that anyway. Only an idiot would believe that. Lammermoor's hearing is very sensitive. She could remember him if she heard him, I'm sure of it. I just can't prove it. And I need proof. She forgot the words because she heard gunshots as if. We know she missed the words. The mixing board proved it. Oh yeah? There was a mistake, but blaming it on gunshots is a lame excuse. What do you mean? The mixing board proves what? It proves there was a mistake in the song. A miscue. So, she just flubbed it up, big time, that's all. She spins a story about a gunshot to protect the kid, and covers for her own goof. Man, I'd have to hand it to her, if she wasn't sticking it to me at the same time. Daryan, watch what you say. Lamarore is an artist. She just flubbed it up? That's no small accusation for a performer of her high caliber. Eh? She got to you, alright, I can see it in your eyes. I can tell you, most of her stuff is so pretentious, it's way over my head. I'm detecting a rift in the Gaviner's ranks. Anyway, she's too close to the defendant. Her testimony can't be trusted. You ask me, I'd go along with Detective Sky's story, the drop of a pick. Didn't Detective Emma Sky hear those gunshots during the third set anyway? Actually, I was there too. So I hear. Which means you heard them too, right? The gunshots. Yes. We heard gunshots. Neither I nor Emma actually saw the shooting, mind you. Heh. I guess you and Lamarore got the same excuse then. We know one thing for certain here. There were, gunshot-like sounds that emanted from that room during the third set. What we must determine is whether those sounds were actually gunshots. Maki heard them too. Remember, he said he ran for the air duct when he heard them. So, how do we figure out just what those gunshots during the third set were? The shooting took place when I was on stage, man. That could have been what the shooter wanted us to think. I'll tell you what the shooter, that kid, wants you to think. He wants you to think the diva heard me in that room. I'm back to relying on Lamarore's testimony. As much as I'm enjoying the Daryan and Forehead show, there's no need for such tempers. Don't make us into some comedy duo. This means the Gavin and Daryan show's cancelled. Neither of your claims can be proven, or disproved. We could argue for days like this and get nowhere. Prosecutor Gavin is quite right. This court will hear no further discussion on this topic without new facts. New facts, huh? He's pretty eager to paint Lamarore's a liar, isn't he? Yeah, because her testimony is basically our entire case. This is tough. So what do we do? I've got a few ideas. I just need to find another way to prove it didn't happen when he says it did. The shooting took place when I was on stage.
Objection!
That statement contradicts the evidence. It doesn't... Damn. I gotta save here. But I'm right. I'm right. I know I'm right. I know I'm definitely right. The firecracker was used with the remote trigger. That's how he made it seem like the shooting happened there. I know I'm on the right track with that. The only question here is which evidence to show him right now. There, it was on this one. Some things were found at the crime scene after yesterday's trial. What things? The first was this small device. That's the remote-triggered igniter. Correct. And one more thing. What are those? The remains of something burnt? Not another guitar, I hope. Traces of gunpowder were found on these fragments. We have a report that it was something like a firecracker. Hey, how did Gavin know about this? What, you think Detective Sky works for you? I received a report this morning before coming here. That's when I made my decision, actually. What decision is this, Prosecutor Gavin? I registered Daryan as a witness in today's trial. Just in case. That raises another possibility. Those gunshot-like sounds during the third set. So yeah, I think that Clavier is starting to piece it together. Could have been these two firecrackers rigged to go off by remote control. Haha. You got an active imagination, don't you? But you shouldn't say every little thing you think. Your explanation there seems a bit too convenient to me. How so? So you're saying these firecrackers just happened to go off? Right when 2 witnesses came walking by, huh? That's right. Daryan was on stage when it happened, Apollo. How would he know when someone was backstage right then? Good question, how would he know? If a firecracker goes off in the forest and there's no one out there to hear, you get my drift, why go through the trouble, man? Ark. How do I explain this? He may not look it, but Daryan is a gifted detective. Show any weakness and he's sure to find it. He may not look it, partner. Gee, thanks, man. That reminds me. I happened to pass through that very hallway several times that day myself, and I saw something odd there just before the 3rd set. Something odd. A headset. The kind all of the band members and staff were wearing. That's right. We picked this up in front of the door to that dressing room. What if that headset wasn't dropped but placed? And what if it was turned on? You could hear what was going on in that hallway. Yeah, he's right. He's right. So he would hear that somebody was walking by. Daryan put that headset there on purpose. That's genius. That's very smart. Even if you were out on stage. Eh. Whose side are you on, Gavin? Listen to me, Daryan. There are no sides in a court of law. Which is why I now turn to you, her forehead. I have a question for you. Huh? For me? The igniter and the burnt fragments that were found at the scene of the crime. It's certainly a possibility they were part of a ruse to fake the sound of gunshots. Throw the headset from the hallway into the mix, and you could fabricate an alibi. But we're still no closer to proving anything. Those gunshots might have been real or fake. We can't say. You've raised the possibility that the shots heard during the 3rd set were faked. Now you need to prove the other half of the case. The other half. Look, I'll just tell him. He wants you to prove the thing went down in the 2nd act, while our little piano player was on stage. That right, Gavin? Indeed. If you can't prove that, then to continue this cross-examination would be pointless. Well, Mr. Justice, can you prove the crime took place during the 2nd set? Yeah, I think. You better know, Apollo, otherwise we're through. It can be proven. You make it sound like someone else is going to come along and do it for you. Let's continue with the cross-examination then, shall we? Witness, your testimony, if you would. This isn't going to be easy. I need some decisive proof, and fast. Hey, you ready, kid? Because I am. So, the proof that we could technically use is that the brooch. Remember, it fell out. It was there at that time when Lammeror was crawling through the vent. The shooting took place during the 2nd set. If you're so sure, let's see your proof. But the gunshots heard during the 3rd set could have been. What? Some kind of setup? I've heard that one before. We need proof, Apollo. We need to prove that the shooting took place during the 2nd set. Well, if you know how to do that, I'm all ears. Maybe the gunshots are the key after all. What do you mean? Well, Lammeror said she heard them, right? Right in the middle of her illusion when she was up above the ceiling. When she forgot the words to the song, yeah? If you can prove the gun was shot right when she missed those lyrics, we're home free, I think. True. Not easy, but true. Is there some way to prove that? Let's take a look through our evidence. Maybe there's something in there. Hey, aren't you supposed to be cross-examining me? Try to refrain from private discussions during cross-examination, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. Sorry. Just let me take a quick look through the court record. He's pretty eager to paint Lammeror as a liar, isn't he? Yeah, because her testimony is basically our entire case. This is tough. So what do we do? I've got a few ideas. I just need to find another way to prove it didn't happen when he says it did. Okay, let's see here. The brooch is proof, but I don't know if Gavin will accept that, because he'll just say that it's tied to Lammeror, and it's just her testimony. Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow you. Let me watch the video again. Hang on a second. So it was when she said, pleasure, she took a delay in that. So she was, this is the part. There was no gunshot sounds recorded on that. One's a little tough here. I'll get it in a moment, I just have to think. Shooting took place during the second set. If you're so sure, let's see your proof. The videotape probably isn't gonna work. We know this was detonated with the igniter. Wait a second. Wait. I understand. I think I understand now. Hold on. Hang on a second. The gunshots could possibly be in here. And the reason that he missed his cue, the reason he missed it, was because he was messing with the trigger. That's why he missed his cue. Hang on. This is Maki. This one is Lammeror. There. Yeah. We heard it, yeah. I think I only heard one shot, but... Hold on a second. Let it just play here. Yeah, there it is. This is it.
Objection!
It seems there was clear proof left behind. Right here in Lammeror's song. Her song? What exactly is this device thingy? A new variety of gramophone, perhaps? Come on, we just used this, and don't get me started on gramophone. This device was used to record the performance part by part. You move the sliders to adjust the volume. Each instrument is adjustable separately, Lammeror's voice included. Oh-ho, but what does this prove? According to Lammeror's testimony, at the moment of the shooting, she forgot the words to the song. Ah, you intend to examine the recording at that moment, yeah? We might even hear those gunshots. Exactly. Ah, ridiculous. Ah, he's getting sweaty now. How are you supposed to hear gunshots back in that dressing room out on stage? Have you forgotten, Daryan? We were all wearing these headsets. Oh? We were all deeply involved in our performance. But Lammeror's headset would have picked up what she heard it all the same. Then let's get to analyzing that recording. Right now. Lammeror stopped singing when she heard the shots fired. Find that spot and I'll find the gunshots. Your Honor, listen closely to this part. This is the track with Lemuror's vocals. When you stole away the keys, my heart held on to so tight. Pleasure. I did hear something faintly there, yes. Why, it sounded like a gunshot. What? This has to be some kind of mistake. I believe a case has been made. Gunshots were heard during the second set, which means Lemuror's testimony was true. Ah. Order! So, she was telling the truth about what she heard. It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Le Touse. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch now. Just after that, there was a gunshot, and then the guitar caught on fire. Detective Crescent, you weren't on stage during the second set. You could have done it. But why did we only hear one gunshot on the recording? Weren't 2 bullets fired from this weapon, that's true. Lemuror was moving through the air vent, Your Honor. She must not have been able close enough for Mike to catch the first shot. But then, as she passed over the dressing room, the gun fired again, and Mr. Le Touse's life was taken. Well, Detective Crescent? Ah, once again I reminded of something. Our performance that day. Your performance? Seeing the mixing board jog a memory. Yeah, Daryan missed his cue. You were there too, her forehead. What is it with today? Problem after problem. Achtung, that means attention in German. My hog won't start, my guitar case is busted. My guitar's been burnt to a crisp, and to top it all off, somebody's dead. And then there was that performance just now. What was that all about? This part is off. Which is that, Second guitar. Ah. It was you, Daryan. I thought it strange that time. How could you miss such a simple cue? I know you. I know how you play. You're better than that. Yeah, well, You what? And Prosecutor Gavin, what are you getting at? I'm talking about the murder weapon, Mr. Le Touse's .45 caliber hand cannon. As we have learned, even the shooter doesn't go unscarred of a revolver that size. The kickback is enough to dislocate your shoulder if you're an amateur. Wait. You mean his playing was affected because he hurt himself shooting that revolver? You're forgetting something. Yes, Detective Crescent. I'm a trained police officer, you know. I've had firearms training. Plenty of it. I'm no amateur. The standard sidearm issued to police officers is a .38 caliber weapon. Ooh, yeah. 45 is gonna be a lot stronger than that. Way stronger. And here's the thing. Basically, any gun that fires .357 can also fire .38. I'm pretty sure. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. But a gun that fires .38 caliber cannot shoot .357. So if I'm wrong on that, correct me. But I think I'm right on that. A much tamer beast, also the murder weapon, belonged to the victim, Mr. Le Touse, which suggests there was a struggle between killer and victim. So, the killer might not have been holding the revolver correctly when he fired. Is that what you mean? The thought had occurred to me, yes. Well, does the witness have anything to say to this? Detective Crescent. What I want to ask is what Mr. Sleeves rolled up ready for action has to say. Hey, you, attorney. Me. Exactly which piece of evidence is decisive again? You got a little noise on a tape that could be anything. And you have an alleged guitar cue miss due to a .45 caliber kickback. I weep for this case, Gavin, I really do. You can line up your little weak piece of evidence all you want. I didn't shoot that manager. And that's the obvious truth. The witness has a point. The defense's arguments, while persuasive, are not decisive. I believe we should hear what the witness has to say in response to the case so far. Your testimony, please, Detective Crescent. Tell us your reasons why you couldn't have done it. This better be good. Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager? You want a reason? Easy. I got no motive, man. This was that diva's first trip to this country, right? How could I possibly know her manager? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him? A simple reason indeed. Prosecutor Gavin, is it the case that Mr. Le Touse had not been to our country before? According to our records, yes, not even once. I see. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. Great, now I need to find a motive. Come on, why would I even want to kill that manager? Our manager, sure, but Mr. Le Touse was... Oh, right. Sorry, an Interpol agent, wasn't he? I just have trouble picturing that big lunk as an undercover cop, you dig? And not a very good one, seeing as how he got wasted. Ha 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 ha. Well, that would look very, very, very bad for you in court if you actually made fun of somebody dying, especially if you're, well, he's not on trial, but that would look very, very bad for you. That would probably disqualify the witness's statements, too. That's cold, dog. Not that it matters either way. See, I had no reason to kill the man, whatever he was. You want a reason? Easy. I got no motive, man. But that's the same for Maki. No motive was proven for him. Come on, he traveled around the world with that old fart. He had plenty of time to come up with a motive of his own. More than I sure did. I mean, think about it. This was that diva's first trip to this country, right? Daryan, you're Detective of International Affairs. Yeah, what of it? Even if this was Mr. Le Touse's first trip to this country, you still could have met him prior to the concert. Huh? That is true. Or don't you take any international trips in international affairs? That's right. Well, Detective Crescent? That's your game, is it? Guess I'd better confess then. Confess? Yeah, it's a bit of an embarrassment, but I've never been sent overseas. What? But you're an international. See, me and Plain's got a difference of opinion. We don't like each other much. My condolences, her forehead, but he's telling the truth. He's never set foot outside the country, I can guarantee it. As it turns out, my division has plenty of work to do locally as well. That's so unfair. How could I possibly know her manager? So you didn't fraternize with him at all during the concert? Fraternize? Ha! I don't think we exchanged a single word. As if anyone would want to talk to that old Eastern blockhead. Now, the ladies, that's a different matter altogether. So you see? If I didn't know him, why would I want to kill him? You sure about that? What? What? Wipe that look off your face before I do it for you. Listen, you try throwing out, one of your wild accusations. I'll throw it back at you so hard you'll forget who you're accusing of what. Her forehead, perhaps it's best if you let your evidence do the talking, yeah? Ah, man, what evidence? That's what I want to know. So he's using this motive question as ammunition, huh? Well, I've got ammunition too. Evidence. This egg is the center of all of this that's happened, I know it. I wonder... Could it be that he wanted to take the egg, give it to the Chief Justice's son, so he could get some kind of promotion? Is that what this is about? I wonder. Your Honor, take a look at this. What's that, Looks like candy. It's not. Don't lick it, please. Detective Crescent, ever seen this? Looks like a piece of candy. What it is evidence. Don't, lick it before you try it. Specifically, this is a replica of a cocoon. It was found among the victim's belongings. A cocoon, never seen one that color. Is a variety only found in the Republic of Borginia. Nowhere else. Alright, but what is this cocoon replica doing in my courtroom? Surely this has nothing to do with a motive for killing Mr. Le Touse, does it? It does. Wait. I mean, I think it does. You don't sound so confident, man. A cocoon? Is it one of those silky cocoons? The kind that you can make, well, silk out of? Not this one. This cocoon makes a powerful curative. Curative? For what? Apparently it is most efficacious at treating a disease, though thought incurable. It is the only medicine of its kind. However, it is illegal to take one of these howling cocoons out of Borginia. Whatever for? If it's such a miracle cure, why not share it with the world? Yeah, that's what I've been wondering. We looked into the matter at some length. Apparently, it isn't difficult at all to manufacture the remedy from the cocoon. Yet, if you change the process only slightly, you can easily make a large quantity of something else entirely. What is that? A deadly poison, in fact. What? There was an incident several years ago where some of these got onto the black market. It caused quite the commotion in the global community. Though the media was kept largely unaware, intriguing. All this has led to a strict ban on the cocoon's export. One rightly enforced by Interpol amongst others. Interpol. Right. The victim, Romain Le Touse, was an Interpol agent. Detective Crescent, you insist on referring to him as a manager, but that is misleading. Romain Le Touse wasn't killed as a manager. He was killed as an undercover agent. So I was trying to smuggle this gumball into the country? That's what you're trying to say? I'm saying that could well be a motive for murder. Oh, so I was going to sell it on the black market, make myself a pretty penny. Ridiculous. I mean, totally unthinkable. Unthinkable, you say? Why? Perhaps it's time for another testimony about this smuggling of cocoons business. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. Well, he just said he didn't know what it was. Interpol's all hot and bothered about them. Can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. Man, I'm in International Affairs, I know the deal. And you never step foot outside the country, too. Indeed. Interpol wanted these cocoons bad enough to send Mr. Le Touse undercover. You kids think up the craziest things, but no way am I going to risk life and limb just to get my hands on some dirty cocoon money. Not the most noble of statements, but duly noted. According to reports, these cocoons top Interpol's list. Selling them to an underground organization would be risky. Very well. You may begin the cross-examination. This is the only motive I've got. He was up to something, and I'm gonna find out what. International Affairs got a memo about these cocoons. That memo, that's how you knew about the cocoons. Oh, nice one, nice one. I'm running scared now. You had to know about the cocoons to plan this. Just how well known are these cocoons? I'm embarrassed to admit, but I've never heard of them. Well, Lamoureux knew about them, though not their use. My reports indicate that there are ongoing efforts to control information about the cocoons. Most people only know they're illegal to export, that's all. Then, I've nothing to be embarrassed about after all. You could say people like me who know about them are a minority, yeah. That includes everyone in International Affairs, man. And everyone in Interpol too, for that matter, yeah. Interpol's all hot and bothered about him. So there are other Interpol agents like Mr. Le Touse. All over the world, likely. Deep undercover, most of them. That's why these cocoons are too hot for the black market. You don't want Interpol sniffing through your wares. Most came to the conclusion that can't sell them on the black market, too dangerous. Dangerous? Yeah, Interpol finds you, they arrest you on the spot. Or another marketeer might think you're part of a sting and take you out himself. Times have changed. Yeah, cocoon smuggling ain't exactly lucrative anymore. But wouldn't scarcity drive up prices? That is true, yeah, and attention. Every gangster and his brother would want a piece of that action. They'd turn your forehead into Swiss cheese before you could say objection. Maybe we could get them to cut off his hair too. Who's on trial here again? Man, you so obviously know nothing about the market. And that's a bad thing? Don't even try to mess with me about this stuff. Man, I'm International Affairs, I know the deal. Which is why you'd know how to find a loophole in the system. Hey, you can say what you want about me. Back off International Affairs. The thing is corrupt cops oftentimes are actually even worse than the gangsters. Well, I guess corrupt cops are gangsters with badges, but corrupt cops know the system really well. And so they're gonna know a lot of times how to get away with it. They're gonna know what evidence can be used against them. They know all about alibis, you know, direct evidence, you know, exactly stuff like that, circumstantial evidence. They would know everything that could possibly link them to the crime. And also, corrupt cops are some of the most untrustworthy criminals out there. I mean, all criminals are untrustworthy, but corrupt cops especially. The thing is, corrupt cops are notorious for killing off people that they deal with, and that's because they know that that person could later be used as a witness against them. So they know the system really well. So honestly, if you made a deal with a mafia boss, it would be the mafia boss oftentimes would be more trustworthy than doing a deal with an undercover cop. There ain't no loopholes, okay? What do you think we are, Boy Scouts? That wasn't what I was trying to. Down, Daryan. It's as you say. There are no loopholes, at least in the case of these cocoons. International Affairs, Interpol, and Virginian Customs were all watching. See? We know what we're doing. Not like some yipping little doggies that lap us every word that Diva says. Why I oughta? Oughta what? You want some of this? Haha, chill, both of you. Let's do this cool, yeah? Screw cool. I want this guy's head in a stick. The replica has to be the key to his motive. There's gotta be a way to find out what he was up to. Yes, this newspaper article.
Objection!
Yup, I was right. Why not choose a less dangerous buyer then? I would. How clueless are you? Everyone in the market's dangerous. The second they found out I was a cop, I could kiss my keister goodbye. Why sell to a black market buyer? How about someone like this? That article, that's about the Chief Justice's. A deadly poison can be extracted from the cocoon, but so can a cure. And not a cure for just any disease. A cure for incuritis. Incuritis? I've heard of that somewhere. You went to visit a victim of the disease this morning. Aha! Why, that's the disease the Chief Justice's son has. You aren't saying... Our witness is a detective. He would have contact with the Chief Justice. You are saying... The Chief Justice would never deal in contraband. Not even to save his own son's life? What? Even if the deal went through? Why it'd be an international scandal? That's Detective Crescent's insurance. If word ever got out, the one with his neck on the line would be the Chief Justice. Detective Crescent, is this true? First, I'm a murderer, now I'm a smuggler? How many crimes are you trying to pin on me anyway? Distasteful as it is to think about it, if the Chief Justice were the buyer, why a seller couldn't hope for a better deal. A very cowardly seller. Don't let sleeves over there trick you. So I made a deal with the Chief Justice. Where's your proof? Well? Oh yeah, and you're forgetting one other important thing. Do tell. Interpol isn't the only ones out there watching this. Virginian Customs barely sleeps. They're so worried about cocoons getting out. So we were informed. Let's continue with the cross-examination. Virginian Customs is very thorough. Everything and everyone gets checked.
Hold it!
Just how strict is this customs check? Way strict. They keep planes on the ground for hours. I do recall it being a bit extreme. They were even confiscating gumdrops and marshmallows. Yes. It would be hard to distinguish them. That's right, Gavin was in Virginia, wasn't he? I remember setting off the metal detector several times. I had to practically strip naked to walk through. Here's a travel tip for you, Gavin. Leave the bling at home, you glimmerous fop. Cocoon possession will get you arrested on the spot and then sentenced to death.
Hold it!
That's pretty extreme. Virginia has its rep as an idyllic, laid-back place. Truth is, they're beyond hardcore security. The Republic of Virginia is a peaceful, pleasant country. Yeah, I don't think so. So this level of security shows us how truly concerned they are about these cocoons. A lot of countries are called... Here's the thing. A lot of countries are actually called republics and democracies, like the full name of their country, but in reality they aren't. Like, for example, do you know that North Korea's true name isn't actually North Korea? It's actually called the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. That's what it's called, the DPRK. But is North Korea a Democratic People's Republic? So this level of security shows us just how truly concerned they are about these cocoons. That's the situation. Hey man, if there's a way to get cocoons out of there, I'd sure like to know. You're in a position to know quite a bit about smuggling. Yeah, I need to know a bit for work, sure. But all we've got are reports on the failed smuggling ops. Not exactly something you want to go copying. But if you want, I can tell you a few of them. Maybe you'll succeed and get rich. I would be interested in hearing, purely from a legal perspective, of course. I weep for our judicial system. Replica has to be the key to his motive. There's gotta be a way to find out what he was up to. Everyone gets checked. The thing is, though, I wonder if Maki was Daryan's contact. That's what I'm wondering about. I'm wondering if Maki had somehow gotten the cocoon out and Daryan was gonna buy it from him and then sell it to the Chief Justice. But then somehow Mr. Le Touse found out about this and Daryan killed him. I wonder if that's what this whole thing is about. But how would you get the cocoon out of the country, though? There's gotta be a way to prove it. It's gotta be this. Was it the guitar? A gift by Lamoror sent from Borginia, burned the night of the concert. Was the guitar burnt to get rid of any evidence? The egg was inside the guitar? Is that how they got it out of the country? Objection! I'm right. Actually, there is one way. What? One way to get something out of the country. No checks. What is it? You become a prosecutor. A prosecutor? I don't believe it. Believe it, Prosecutor Gavin. What was it that you told me yesterday at your office? It was a beautiful instrument. It was played lovingly for many years. A guitar befitting a woman like Lamoror. How did it end up here? I mentioned how much I enjoyed playing it that night, and she made a present of it. So this guitar is from Borginia. That it is. We couldn't carry it on the plane. Changes in air pressure and humidity ruined the wood. So we vacuum packed it in Lamoror's studio. I use a special shipping service available to me for transporting evidence. That's how. They brought it right up to my office for me. Pristine and untouched. Did I get that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Untouched. Quite. The guitar was wrapped in several sheets and vacuum packed in Borginia. The pack was untouched until the day of the concert. Are you saying that guitar was... with cocoons? This small, it would have been very easy to use your guitar as a mule to smuggle a cocoon out of Borginia. What? Which reminds me, Prosecutor Gavin, that guitar had some work done it recently, right? Work. Good memory, her forehead. Well, you know how guitars have a round hole in the front. It is called the sound hole. Well, they found out something attached to wood just inside the hole. A broken device of some sort. A broken device. Yes, this, in fact. An igniter. Exactly. Consider this if you will. What if that igniter wasn't the only thing that was attached inside your guitar? You mean... He means this, of course. There was a way to get a cocoon out of the country. They could use picky Prosecutor Gavin's privileged guitar as a mule. And who better to do that than someone with access? Like a member of the band. Yark! Order! So the igniter was placed in there for a clear reason, it seems. It was a safety precaution. A Precaution. Ah, her forehead. At last, it all comes together. Every strange thing that happened that day. Care to review? Maestro, the gentle sounds of Lammermoor's ballad. First, my keys were stolen, a harmless misdemeanor, which forced me to break the lock on my guitar case. The key was stolen to retrieve the cocoon from the guitar. I see. But things didn't go so well. The smuggler wasn't counting on the guitar being wrapped. Only a member of the band could get near the case. Unwrapping the guitar would raise too much suspicions. Then the concert began. Right about this time, a very large problem presented itself to the smuggler. What's that? Mr. Le Touse. Ah, Mr. Le Touse, an undercover agent, was onto something. He would have known about the guitar. He'd only have to check the shipping records. So Mr. Le Touse tried to examine the guitar himself. If the cocoon were confiscated then, the gig would be up. The only thing left for the smuggler to do was to get rid of the whole lot. It's over, press the switch. Now! The guitar burst into flames, and the cocoon was lost. So the igniter was a safety precaution to get rid of evidence. And then, Mr. Le Touse died, with Lammermoor there to witness it. There's your case. Brilliant, man. What's so funny? I got a bad feeling about this. Detective Crescent. I gotta know, you make all that up on the fly. For a made-up story, it makes a great deal of sense, Daryan. The Republic of Virginia? Sorry, man, but I haven't even been there. True, you haven't. Ha! Let's see you make up a story for that, kid. How'd I hide the cocoon in the first place, huh? It's not so hard to imagine. You had help, a Borginian accomplice. That's all. That you had an accomplice was clear from the start. The voice Lammermoor heard proves it. It's over, press the switch, now. You made this transmission from backstage, while your co-conspirator was on stage. Maki was the co-conspirator, because the switch was found in Maki's piano. But, who was it? This is it, the coup de grace. And for once, I know what I'm doing. There's only one person who could have helped him. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say then. But be warned, with a great accusation comes great responsibility. Make up your answer on the fly, as it were, and you'll be penalized harshly. Are you ready, Mr. Justice? Who was the smuggler's accomplice? Look through everyone here. Maki Tobei. There is only one person who meets all the requirements of the accomplice. And that person is the defendant, Maki Tobei. But Mr. Justice, he's your client. A defense attorney accusing his client, that's a new one. I assure you, no one is more unhappy about this than I am. But I am here to defend him in the murder of Mr. Le Touse. And I stand by my statement earlier that he is innocent of that particular crime. Indeed, the defendant is Borginian. He does meet the basic requirements to be the accomplice. But what if it was in fact Lammermoor? It couldn't have been. Well, you seem sure of yourself. The reason is electronic signals, Your Honor. Electronic signals. Recall that this remote only works on a range of 30 feet. Beyond that, it's useless. Yes, that's true. Now think back to the testimony. When the shooter made his transmission, Lammermoor was in the air vent, right above the dressing room where the shooter stood. Let's look at the stage diagram. This is the area that the remote could reach from the air vent. While looking at this, it seems that Lammermoor still could have done the deed. No. When the shooter made that transmission, the stage was slightly different than shown here. It was in the middle of the guitar serenade. Part of the stage was raised. Prosecutor Gavin and Lammermoor stand-in were in the air. They were on a tower which happens to be 15 feet tall. In other words, the remote couldn't have worked from Lammermoor's position in the air vent. Ah. Well, Detective Crescent, what do you say to that? Your Honor. Yes, detective. Could we see the video where Gavin's guitar burns? Just one more time. Well, I don't see why not. Well, what? Don't tell me he has a way out of this. Pleasure. Honestly, Crescent is starting to piss me off more than Alita. But a fleeting melody. It wraps itself around me. And now, through the air, I fly. Ha 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 ha. Too bad, so sad, punk. Punk? First you were sleeves, then kid, now punk? You're losing rank fast, Apollo. What exactly were we supposed to see in this video? The problem isn't in what you see, correct, Daryan? Right. It's what you hear. We are musicians, after all. Care to explain for us non-musicians? Sure thing, punk. Let me get your yarn straight first. You're saying I ordered the Wii pianist to set off that igniter. That right? Yes. Well, in order to do that, he'd have to press a switch. Am I right? Okay. Well, take another listen. Pay attention to the piano. Piano. Oh, he's gonna say his hand wasn't on the keys. What seems to be the problem there? The piano sounded just fine. That's the thing. And that's the problem, man. You still don't get it. Ah. Yeah, how's he supposed to hit that switch if he's playing? The piano, maybe he wasn't playing the piano. That's the thing, maybe it was on auto. You've got Miss Diva, the guitar, the bass, the piano, and the drums. The only one of her hands free was the Diva. Lamaror. But according to you, she couldn't have been the accomplice, could she? Herc. Your accomplice would have a hard time helping out if they couldn't even press a switch. Herc. Ugh. Wait, I know how Maki did it. I know how he did it. Remember where the switch was. The switch was in the piano. The piano plays non-stop. The switch was in the piano, so all Maki had to do is he had to wait until the moment that the right key was pushed. Because remember that in a piano, there's those, I don't know what they're called, somebody in the comments might know, but there's those lines that move around in the piano, so when you trigger the key, those lines move and they basically make the sounds. So the trigger was tied to one of those. And so the sound would have been no different if you pressed the key, but Maki was just going through the song as normal, and that's what I think probably happened. But how would he have that ignited though at the same time too? Because the thing would have been ignited at the same time. I'm kind of disproving my theory, but that's at least what I think. I think there was a way for him to trigger it through the piano. It has to have been that. Well, Mr. Justice, the piano does seem to be playing when the guitar catches fire. Well, it's okay. We all make mistakes sometimes. Apollo, were you wrong? I can't be wrong. Everything makes perfect sense. How could it all? Just strange. What's strange? No, it's just something's odd about the performance there. Odd. Mr. Justice, if Maki Tobe didn't press that switch, then he could not be the accomplice you claim he is. But everything points to it. Every fact says he's the accomplice. You got the facts wrong, man. Here's some facts for you. Gavin's guitar is on fire. Hang on a second. Hang on. It's right when it hits the first line, right when the gunshot happens. So when he told him to push the trigger, it was right before the shot happened. So we just need to listen to the piano right before the shot to see if there's anything wrong. It's coming up. It's about to be that first line. Was that it? It sounded like he hit a wrong key, or was it just me? It's like when it's like 70% through. But the pianist didn't press that switch. In other words, your story is full of holes. No, it's the truth. Mr. Justice, let's hear your final opinion on this matter now. Was the defendant Maki Tobe the accomplice? Your answer will reflect on everything you've said here. Give it some thought. Apollo, if Maki's not the accomplice, then our whole case is ruined. I know that. It has to be him. He was the only one who could have helped the smuggler. He had to have pressed that switch. Well, you better find a way to prove it. What do I do? What do I do? There has to be something that doesn't fit. Something odd. Something odd. Wait a second. What? You thought of something? What was Gavin saying just now? Strange. What's strange? No, it's just... something's odd about the performance there. It's not much to go on, but it's all I've got. What exactly did he hear that was odd? Have you come up with something, Mr. Justice? May I remind you that everything rests on this. Can you prove Maki Tobe pressed the switch? Let's hear your final answer. Can you prove that Maki Tobe pressed that switch? I can prove it. I don't know if you call this proof per se, but I can prove it was possible. Then as prosecutor, it falls to me to ask you to show us the evidence supporting this. Her forehead, you're sure about this? Huh? Accept it. There's no evidence, man. Let's see your evidence, Mr. Justice. On what do you base your claim that the defendant pressed the switch? Okay, so it's when she disappears. The basis for my claim is music, Your Honor. Music. What about music? Let's listen to the piano part around the time when the switch was to be pressed. Right before the guitar burst into flame. I hear a piano being played. But doesn't it sound kind of simple? Simple? Ah, I think I know what he's suggesting. You think Maki could have played that part with one hand? One hand? He only needed one hand to press that switch. He could play the piano with the other. Huh, what, you're some kind of piano, savant? Actually, no. Then what do you know? You can't play a part like that with one hand. Maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Wait, I know, hey, Trucy. Yeah, you got something. Mr. Wright, your father, he's a pianist, could he... Oh, Daddy. He couldn't play a part like that even if he had 3 hands. So sorry, so sad for you. No, not really. Huh? That was just the easy way to prove it. There's always the hard way. Man, how are you going to prove whether he played with 1 hand or 2? You can't. I admit, it will be rather difficult to prove, but it's highly likely he was playing with 1 hand. How do you know that? The clue is what Prosecutor Gavin described as sounding odd. What sounded odd? I'll bet we can tell by listening to a certain part of the song. No. No way. Well, it seems we've come to the moment of truth at last. Let's hear what Mr. Justice has to say for himself. Show us the part that proves the defendant was playing with 1 hand. Right before the guitar burst into flames. Maki was definitely playing one-handed just before the guitar caught fire, and one section of the song proves it. The flaming guitar happened after the gunshots. Okay, wait, listen to this one, the first one. That one's too complicated. Prosecutor Gavin, I'm sure you've realized by now just what it was that sounded odd to you. As I'm sure you realized it yourself, her forehead. Realize what? I'll demonstrate. Let's listen to the part in question again, shall we? Pay particular attention to the "but a fleeting melody" phrase. Pleasure. But a fleeting melody. Man, how many times do we have to listen to the same thing? But the thing is, though, is that that was before the gunshot, and it was a huge chunk of time before the gunshot, so that's what confused me. You're right, enough of that. Let's listen to another section, shall we? Another section. The guitar bursts into flames at the end of the second verse. Let's listen to the same spot, in the first verse. Pay attention to "Oh, that night in your embrace." Play verse 2 again. There, did you hear that? They feel the same, true. But they're clearly very different. What? Well put, Your Honor. The phrase in verse 2 is quite simple, but the same phrase in verse 1 has a high and low notes. You'd have to use the two hands to play that for sure. What's that prove? I would think you'd know that by now. This is why I hate dealing with amateurs, man. So the two verses had different arrangements. Happens all the time. Not this time, Daryan. It's no point in changing an arrangement if you can't hear it clearly. And that wasn't the point. I had him play specifically so that piano would stay in the background. Oh. That was what I noticed. Why should the same phrase sound slightly different, I asked myself. Now ask yourself why Maki changed how he played. There's only one answer. He needed a free hand in order to press the switch. Order. So basically, the whole reason that I was getting really confused with that piano thing is because we were trying to listen for a song, a sound that was being played with just one hand. But what we were really supposed to be looking for is we were supposed to be looking for the same melody, but sounding different later on. I believe this ties all the facts together. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, yes, quite. Though personally, this comes as a terrible disappointment. Heh. What? No comeback? Can't believe it, I finally did it. I shut him up. Very well, bearing an objection from the prosecution, I will now state the court's opinion on this matter. Heh. Ha 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 ha. Good show, Sleeves. No, great show. It's not over. I don't like it when he looks so happy. You tell him, Gavin. Tell him what's so disappointing. Personally, I'm terribly disappointed. In you, her forehead. Huh? Me? Yes, don't get me wrong. Your case is solid. The facts all check out, but even now, you have yet to show us a single piece of decisive evidence. Yeah, but the facts. Anyone can see it was him. Unfortunately, anyone does not include the law. I'm afraid your case doesn't cut it. But 1,000 facts might point towards the same conclusion. But without decisive evidence, it's not proof. That's a rule under our current legal system. I don't believe it. It does not seem as though the defense has any more evidence to present. Oh, I think if he did, we already would have seen it a long ways back. It is unfortunate. But at present, this court is unable to acknowledge your accusation. No, don't tell me he's gonna get away with it. What? The truth is staring us all right in the face. Why can't they see it? What's the point of a legal system that protects criminals? Apollo, remember what Daddy said. It won't be easy proving he did it. Especially not under the current court system. So what do I do? Like I said, good luck. And be aware that it will be impossible to prove his guilt by conventional methods. Ugh. Every man has an igniter inside him. Find Daryan Crescent's igniter and set it off. So you have to get him angry. Igniter means probably getting him angry. I wonder what he meant by every man's igniter. I think he just meant a weak spot, no? The kind of thing that a single spark could turn into a wildfire of emotion. I won't be able to press him further by conventional means. I've got to find a weak spot in this guy. Something fatal. So, can I get back to work now or what? It may look like I got a lot of time on my hands, but I got no more time to play pretend with this deadweight attorney. Well, Mr. Justice, we've come this far without decisive evidence. This witness won't be coming back to the stand once we let him go. Every man has an igniter. Huh? Didn't you say the better the guitar, the brighter it burns, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah yes, good guitars are kept dry is why. That provides the best sound. Even a small spark could cause irreparable damage. Your plan has an igniter in it too, Detective. It was there from the very beginning. What? Fighting time, Justice. If you blow this one, he'll be out of your hands for good. Go for it, Apollo. What, and this igniter's supposed to come to burn me up? That's almost poetic there, Mr. Attorney. All the better, I'm rather fond of poetry. And I intend to hear this one through to the very end. Her forehead. You are accusing this man, Daryan Crescent, of 2 crimes. The murder of Mr. Le Touse and the smuggling of a Borginian cocoon. This is your last chance to prove your case. This trial has already run on for far too long. Mr. Justice, this will be my last warning. The moment this igniter of yours turns out to be a dud is the moment this cross-examination ends. Understood? Yes, Your Honor. Then let's have it. Show us the basis for these accusations against Daryan Crescent. Okay, this is really my last chance. The key that will take apart Daryan Crescent's plan is... I have to think about this one really carefully. The key that will take his plan apart. The key ring. Wait. The key that will take apart Daryan Crescent's plan is... He would have been the only one that could have gotten the keys. I think that's it. The defense is prepared to show the court evidence. Be my guest. Be all our guests, Mr. Justice. Show us, evidence supporting your accusations against Daryan Crescent. Found in the victim's left hand, holds keys to a guitar, a case, and motorcycle. This is your igniter? Mahahaha. So exactly how am I supposed to react to that? He's not flustered at all. I picked a dud. I'm afraid your poetic tale ended up to be a mere fantasy. Reality bites, Mr. Justice. Penalty. Ow. Try once more. Show us the basis for your accusations against Daryan Crescent. Think, Justice. Are you sure about this? The key that will take apart Daryan Crescent's plan. Is it the Gavin's guitar? Is that what it could be? But Your igniter isn't a piece of evidence. Huh, so what is? It's true that I couldn't show decisive evidence, but perhaps what I need to prove my case was something else. You mean a witness? Proving his guilt is a tall order, but I've got just the person to do it. Very well, Mr. Justice. Who is this person who can prove Daryan Crescent's guilt? The one person who can prove Daryan Crescent's guilt is the defendant, Maki Tobe. Your client. Maki Tobe was an accomplice in the cocoon smuggling plot. Without him, Daryan Crescent could not have gotten the cocoon. Furthermore, he can easily prove that the one who plotted to smuggle the cocoon is the real criminal in this case. How so? It would require just one of the very cocoons Mr. Le Touse was looking for. With the cooperation of the Republic of Borginia, we could burn a cocoon. The burned cocoon would leave a particular residue. A residue we would no doubt also find inside the burned-out guitar. Aha! Very scientific of you. Thus, if Maki Tobe acknowledges his agreement with Daryan Crescent concerning the attempted smuggling of Borginian cocoon, the case is solved. Heh. Daryan's laughing again. Your unrelenting passion is remarkable. You really want to get me, don't you? Too bad you'll never be able to. Why not? The little key tickler won't acknowledge anything, especially not anything to do with cocoon smuggling. What's this all about? Taking a cocoon out of the country means death. By Borginian law. Yeah, see? If our pianist really was a smuggler, then testifying about it would be suicide. Believe me, he's not talking. But you're wrong, Detective Crescent. What? It's the other way around. If Maki doesn't admit to smuggling here, he's in deep trouble. Huh? How? Look, if Maki admits to smuggling here, then he'll be tried in our courts by our laws. You don't get the death penalty for smuggling in our country. Oh, yeah, that's it. I get it now. I get what the trick is. Admitting to a smaller crime, so you're not guilty of the bigger crime. The victim in this case was an undercover Interpol agent. I'm sure that news had already reached Borginia, and they'll likely broadcast our dealings in court today, including the part about the Borginian cocoon. Yeah, but if Maki doesn't admit to smuggling now, he'll eventually be picked up by the Borginian police, and it's not like he's in any danger in our court. We're not going to find him guilty of murder here, not now. Yeah, but you can't do this. You can't accuse me. Maybe the law doesn't allow it. But who's going to think you're really innocent after hearing this trial? The same goes for Maki Tobe. The cocoon smuggling, your entire plan. Maki Tobe knows everything. There's only one way out of it for him, and that's to acknowledge his own crime. The crime of cocoon smuggling. Heh. Don't worry there. I'll get you out of the country. I'll set you up someplace, a hidden mansion. Real nice. You want a house made out of cookies, or no, a house made out of pianos? Come on. Please. Daryan, I consider that my last session with you. We rocked. I'm guessing we can treat that outburst as a confession. Heh. Uh-oh, he's laughing again. There's a kind of sick desperation in it now, though. Well, have you been listening to today's trial? Yes. And you'll talk. You'll tell this court everything. I didn't want it to turn out this way, but I'm not the kind of lawyer that can overlook a crime. Today's trial was all for your benefit, you know. I see no reason why you should hesitate now. I knew from beginning, I knew. Maki. Situation I cannot explain, but money I needed. Very much money. Today's trial raises a delicate issue of our legal system. The only thing definitive in a court of law is evidence. This is the golden rule. However, it has become apparent that not all things can be tried by this standard. Should another case of this sort suffice, we may have to consider an alternate system by which to administer justice. Anyway, Mr. Maki-Tobe, yes, I promise you will receive a fair trial by the laws of our country. And with regards to the current charges for the murder of Mr. Le Touse, this court is prepared to announce a verdict. I thank you. Wow, it's the first time we see his eyes. I only lie, but you see truth you find. Truth. That's our job. Very well. This court finds the defendant Maki-Tobe. Court is adjourned. July 10, 4:42 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. I wonder what happened to Maki. Well, he did smuggle a cocoon out of Virginia. I guess there'll be another trial here. All's well that ends well. Daddy, I owe you both my thanks. Lammeror. Mai, is something wrong? I'm sorry. Maki was your partner on stage, your friend. Yes, I thought of him as my own son. Even now I do. Yet, something got a hold of him, something evil. I see that. And he must pay for what he has done. Is that not how it should be? I'm still sorry. Do not be sorry. You have given me courage. Courage? I am considering an eye operation. It was my suggestion, actually. You mean you'll be able to see again? It's funny, I have always been afraid of the light. Light seems so harsh, so unforgiving. According to the doctor, Lammeror lost her sight due to some kind of accident. An accident. As you know, I suffer from amnesia. I feared that if I could see, perhaps it would open my eyes to the truth I have been running from. I was scared. You know what changed her mind? Hearing your defense in there today. She could feel your gaze, unwavering, always looking straight at the truth. If the light returns to my eyes, I think I will take up painting. Painting. That's right. She's the landscape painter in sound, after all. I will paint the two of you, I promise. Woohoo! I can't wait, Lemmeror. I owe you my thanks too, Apollo. Thanks, Mr. Wright. But for what? You reminded me I need to hurry things along. On my secret mission, that is. Right, your secret mission. Apollo, Trucy, I hope that we will meet again someday soon. You bet, me too. And so, like a ballad, the trial flowed on and on until it came to an end, thanks to the trial. The guitar serenade was a huge hit. Prosecutor Gavin's even more dazzling to look at now, but there's something I want to say to that guy. Next time you write a ballad, have them catch the killer at the end. Okay, so that's it, but I was a bit confused on what happened to Daryan, because Daryan didn't fully confess, but he was pretty much guilty. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down below, and I'm going to be doing the fourth case, after this. Now, in the fourth case, you guys have told me in the comments that it's the best case in the game, so I don't know what happens, so we'll see. But, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this part. If you did, do drop a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.